Having ADD is like driving in the rain with bad windshield wipers. The windshield gets smudged and blurred as you're speeding along, but you don't slow down. You keep driving, trying your best to see. Why don't you slow down, or better yet, pull over? That's not the way with ADD. You keep going. Faster is better. It's in your blood and in your brain. This metaphor describes everyday life for many people living with attention deficit disorder. But what really is ADD? It's a neurological condition that affects executive functioning in the brain. The frontal lobe controls executive functioning, things like planning, organization, and self-control. According to the DSM-4, a diagnostic manual of mental disorders, ADD is defined by a list of 18 symptoms. Some of the symptoms are failing to notice details, difficulty sustaining attention, being unorganized and forgetful, talking excessively, fidgeting with your hands or feet, difficulty waiting for your turn, interrupting and intruding on others. This diagnostic criteria focuses only on the downside of ADD, naming this deficit of attention a disorder. Many medical experts and people who are ADD don't like the term disorder. To them, ADD is just a different way of life. But why has society placed a negative connotation on this condition?
My opinion is anything psychological has a negative connotation.
People become suspect. Wait a second, I never heard of this, and now it's everywhere. And then they think, oh, well, it's not real, or it's, he doesn't really have it, she doesn't really have it.
And people don't talk about ADD in the proper way.
The jokes and the levity with which the condition has been discussed and portrayed in the past, and really up until just recently, has allowed for this, like, oh, he's ADD, oh, she's so ADD, to use it as a term that's very flippant and not, real and significant.
So I think that's very negative and harmful, and it makes it harder for people to admit they have ADHD, harder to talk about it, because you never know for sure when you tell people about it whether they're going to take it seriously or not believe you.
The thing now is, what do you do how do you identify the strengths? And the DSM-4 only identifies the weaknesses. I mean, do you have this, this, and this? And they don't ever say, are you really creative? Do you come up with like things and create things that are the perfect solution? No, they don't do that. That's not their rule and rule out stuff.
Many books, magazines, and websites focus on the upside of ADD. Creativity and problem solving are just two ADD strengths. But the list doesn't stop here.
A desire to have fun, good sense of humor.
Lots of energy.
Bubbly, outgoing, talkative, intelligent.
A lot of times people with ADD are just brimming with ideas.
I think about 100 miles an hour all the time. And I've got ideas constantly about things, and I'm constantly coming up with new approaches to things, and I'm constantly generating new opportunities. And
you can finish, or you can get some stuff that other people can't get done because of that type of stick-to-itiveness.
There is creativity in a lot of ways, thinking out of the box, seeing a situation that looks one way and being able to really look down the line and see the bigger picture.
Lloyd Walsh, for instance, said that ADDers will stay in the ring until they're bloody. We don't give up.
ADD people are determined and goal-oriented. Many of them have successful careers.
Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, fortunately they had the freedom to go wherever their minds would take them. They're two terrific examples of how you can mobilize your skills and become quite successful.
I think that a lot of people with ADHD are just very likable and social and outgoing, and it can help, relationships and easy to develop relationships, and maybe they're more inclined to take leadership positions.
Teachers, actors, service industry people, consultants, sales, there's a whole bunch of that. Journalists, where you're moving, you're not bored, you're out there and you're doing something.
Some people who are ADD thrive under pressure. Olympic gold medalist Michael Phelps is ADD. Surgeons, traders, and pilots are able to hyper-focus in stimulating situations, and attorneys like Matt Cohen also succeed in these environments.
I'm able to come up with solutions to things under pressure. I think I thrive under pressure in a lot of ways, and in some ways I think that my ADHD, I need that stimulation in some respects, and the more stimulation and to some extent pressure there is, the more able I am to engage. I'm a reasonably smart person and quick on my feet, so I, in effect, inadvertently created the structures that I needed in order to be successful, even though they weren't necessarily the most predictable or systematic or calm.
It's really about more management on the things that you do well, and focusing a little bit on the things that are more troublesome.
So you can channel this enormous energy that most ADHD and ADD people have. So that's why it can be a good thing. It's just a matter of keeping it channeled.
ADD treatment channels this hyperactivity, impulsivity, and distractibility. Through treatment, individuals learn to make the most of their strengths and to turn negative ADD traits into positives. Regular physical exercise increases blood flow to the brain, enhancing cognitive functioning and mental endurance. Acupuncture is becoming a popular treatment for ADD.
The points I'm going to be using will be activating your brain.
Okay.
We'll be actually putting needles in that will activate certain parts of your brain. What acupuncture does is it works to incorporate all aspects of the body, bring everything into the focus so that the person with ADD can have an understanding and a feeling about how their body is supposed to feel when it's balanced. Talk therapy is very, very important. But sometimes there is like a blockage, whether it be stress or anxiety, that kind of keeps the patient from moving forward. So what we can do with acupuncture is we can use the needles to reduce the stress levels, to reduce the anxiety, to remove that blockage so that the individual then is able to move forward.
But the most effective treatment is stimulant medication. Ritalin was first used in 1937 to treat hyperactive children. Now, Adderall, Concerta, and Strattera are also being used to help manage ADD.
Medication increases the electrical activity in the frontal lobe. In a way, it's a contradiction because you say, well, I want to slow down. Well, increasing the activity of the frontal lobe helps you slow down and have control.
Your mind is like the city of Chicago, and everybody's driving 70 miles an hour, and all the stoplights are off, and you take a stimulant and the lights go on, and everything comes back in order. Those are your filters. Because without them, then everything's coming at one time, full volume.
There are people, of course, who do worry about, if I take this medication, though, is it going to change who I am? This is part of who I am, and will that be gone? And, I don't think it really changes who you are. It just helps you to maybe channel that a little better or focus a little better.
You can control it. Once you know what dosage is good for you, you can take yourself on and off of it. You could take summer breaks, you could take weekend breaks, you could take evening breaks. It doesn't have to rule your life.
The more modes of treatment you have in a plan for somebody, the more likely they are to be able to work on several things at once and have success.
It is the easiest disease, disorder, whatever you want to call it, to get better. You can always change your life with this. it makes huge amounts of difference in your life, and I think that's pretty optimistic.
Whether treated or not, people who are ADD have made incredible contributions to society.
One of the reasons all the people on the East Coast, the West Coast, are all hyperactive is they're the ones who left the East Coast and trekked across the country because they wanted to know what was over the next hill. And so hyperactive people are the ones who pushed westward. That's one theory.
Any time in our history where there was the person or the people who were willing to take those risks and step out on a limb, that they may have been able to be diagnosed, or if not, it certainly had characteristics.
Mozart, ADD. All of your big artists that were creative, they all had ADD.
For people like Da Vinci, Michelangelo, when you're talking about those people, they're people who could think outside the box. And I think sometimes that energy that you get from ADHD and that impulsivity can lend itself to creativity.
Great people, average people, people that may have attention deficit disorder. But it's not a disorder. It's just a different way of life. Knowing about the condition and focusing on the strengths, the upside of ADD, makes having this an advantage.